So many people say, oh, I'm struggling because of the economy. Oh, the economy is bad. It's impossible for me to get ahead. My wages are staying stagnant. But on the other hand, cost of living keeps rising. While that may be true to an extent, where cost of living is eating up most of people's paychecks, eating up most of people's salary, half of these struggles that we're in are self-inflicted wounds. They're not external decisions. They're internal decisions that we make with our finances. One thing that everybody I feel like will regret at some point is taking out a car loan. Because at some point prices will go up. And that car loan will always be there. That car note will always be there. Because the fact of the matter is, paying cash for a car of any kind, used, new, no matter what, it's the best. Because you're not paying so much money in interest. That's the best way. Paying cash for a car is the best way. Because cars, they go down in value. And the stuff that we buy on a credit card too, they go down in value. I've been seeing a trend. This is the statistic of how many people in America have been putting groceries on credit cards and haven't been able to pay them off in full. That's concerning right there. That's a concerning number. Because if people are doing that and not paying their balances off in full, the economy won't grow. Debt will just go up. People will continue to spend money that they don't have, and that's going to create an economic downturn for the economy. But people are still struggling because of debts that they owe. There are people who are thriving right now. I've been seeing a trend on social media called the debt-free movement, and honestly, I love that. Because my theory of it is, if you don't have the money to make the purchase, then you obviously must not need it. No matter what it is. If you don't have the money for it, you must not need it. And honestly, that's the way I feel like people will thrive in this economy, is staying out of debt. When you're able to keep your debts low, and when you're able to invest consistently, when you're able to get that savings to 3 to 6 months of living expenses, you're going to be just fine. Because what happens is, when people have an emergency expense and when they have an emergency fund, that emergency expense will not be a crisis, it will just become an inconvenience at that point. Because the fact of the matter is, when you don't have an emergency fund, you're just one paycheck away from financially ruin. You're just one paycheck away from destroying all the progress. You're just one job loss, one car repair, one medical bill, one unexpected expense, one appliance, whether it's a leak in the roof or anything like that. Just anything that was unexpected that can destroy so many years of progress, even decades of financial progress. Because the fact of the matter is, usually when people get in those type of situations, they tend to make impulse choices. They tend to make irrational decisions based on a short-term feeling rather than long-term thinking. And saving for an emergency fund is actually biblical as well. And this Bible verse, in a way, references to it, because it talks about how a wise man plans for the future. And that's what you're doing with an emergency fund. You're essentially planning for the future. You're saving just to save. You're saving for the unknown. You're saving just in case something bad happens. You're not saving for anything in particular, like a new car, a new watch, a new pair of shoes, a vacation, or something like that. While all those things are also cool to save for as well, I want you guys to save just to save. Save for the unknown, because that is priceless. Having an emergency fund is priceless, because it gives you peace of mind. knowing that if something bad happens, it will just be an inconvenience and not a crisis. You're not going to scramble on how you're going to pay for this, how you're going to pay for that. Because that's the reason why so many people are struggling in this economy. Because they don't have an emergency fund and they can't invest. They live paycheck to paycheck. They're still spending like it's no tomorrow. They're still financing cars that they know that they should have paid cash for. They don't even have good credit. Guys, having a good credit score is an underrated aspect of your financial life. Because the higher of a credit score you have, the more money you'll be able to save in interest over the lifetime of a loan. Whether it's a car loan, which I don't recommend you doing, because rates are. I was walking today, and I seen a, and it was at a credit union. They said they had their rates for as low as, I can't remember which credit union it was. They said they had their rates as low as 4%. You guys realize that on average, as of right now, the interest rates that are being paid on high yield savings accounts is 3 to 3.75%. So in that theory, your money is losing value because you're putting money in a depreciating asset at 4% interest when your savings account is only growing 3% interest. That math doesn't make sense. That math just doesn't add up. So and that's not low. That they're just trying to, because banks and dealerships, they make money off when you finance it. They make money off interest. That's how they make their buck, especially on the credit cards, because they charge it 20, 25, 30% interest on the credit cards. And even if you get a credit card, the better credit score you have, the lower interest rate you'll have, which it shouldn't matter at the interest rate at that point, because with a credit card, you guys should be paying your balance off in full each month and on time. But yeah, man, the reason why you're in a financial situation that you're in, not necessarily because of cost of living. Well, cost of living can have a somewhat of an impact on it, but it's because people are not financially literate. There are people in 2026 who are walking around with $0 in their savings account. There are some people who even are in the negative, who even have a negative balance in their checking account, which I don't really understand, which I don't know how that can happen. At that point, you're spending more than you earn. You're just living above your means. Of course you're going to struggle if cost of living is high and you keep spending recklessly. You don't have a budget. You need to sit down and take a deep look at your finances to see what are some ways where you could cut out. What are some ways where you could reduce, so you could save more money, so you could dial back just a little bit for a season, so you could save more money. And I realized this, somebody told me this, which made me really think. When you get out of debt, it's so relieved. Like, I have no debt. I don't owe nobody anything. Do I have to pay for stuff? Yes, I do. But those are just my basic expenses and things that I choose to do, like gym memberships and things of that nature. But other than that, all my money is mine. Because when you guys don't owe nobody a dime, all your money is yours. I'm on the road to no debt for my whole life. While there is an obstacle that remains in the way with me buying my first home, which I might have to take out a loan for, but in a way that's okay, because homes, they go up in value, and as long as you keep your house payment under, they say to keep between 25 and 30%, you'll be just fine, because you'll still be able to save and invest for the future, enjoy the fruits of your labor now, and be able to save for emergencies, and also take care of your other expenses in the house and things that are not in the house, your other financial obligations as well. But it all comes back to you staying out of debt. The reason why you're in debt because you're spending more than you have. you're not keeping track of your money. That's the reason why you're in debt. So it's not all about the economy. And to be honest, if you say the economy is the reason why I'm struggling, it kind of feels like you have no control at all. You're kind of letting an external factor control your circumstances, which you should never do. No matter what, you're always in control of your situation. Because us, as adults and human beings, we make decisions that impact us in the long term. We make short-term decisions that impact us in the long term. So make better decisions and stay out of debt, because staying out of debt brings you peace of mind and it brings you freedom, because the shackles of debt is real. It's so real, and it feels so relieving. It feels so good when you don't have to owe nobody anything. When you get your paycheck, all your money is yours. You could. And another thing too, when you're out of debt, it allows you to supercharge your savings and investing. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm supercharging it. Now imagine if I had debt. I wouldn't be able to invest as much money for retirement. Some people can't even get their employer match because they're in so much debt. Guys, I know a person who took out a 401k loan just to buy a house. And now they're in a situation where they have to pay for the house and they have to pay back the loan as well. And they're stressed. That's another thing too. You have debt. Having debt is just not good for you emotionally either, because it's draining. People who have debt, they're drained. They're depleted inside. Whenever that feeling goes away, they're gonna feel stuck. They're gonna regret it, and you don't want to have any financial regrets. But we do that when we're financially illiterate and we make irrational decisions. Because financial decisions we make today will always impact financial lives. Will always impact our financial lives tomorrow and the next day, and so on and so forth. So you guys, stay out of debt. And it's not the economy, but if you stay out of debt, you will thank yourself, because you will realize of how far your finances will go. Because a lot of people say, oh, 100K is not enough in this economy. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. People say, oh, 6 figures, that's not a lot of money. 6 figures, if you don't, so people saying, if you don't make 6 figures, you're broke, or you're poor. I don't make 6 figures, but I could definitely say that I'm not struggling. I'm working towards things, yes I am, but I'm not struggling. I'm living good. The 6-figure earners, some 6-figure earners say, oh, this is not enough. Some people say they'll need to make around 200K just to feel financially stable. There's people who are making way less than that, some in the 40s and 50s, some even in the 60s. And are living comfort and are living good lives, but that's because they know how to keep their expenses low, and they know how to stay out of debt, and they know how to pay cash for things, and they avoid the debt traps at all costs when it comes to these predatory car loans, and when it comes to these credit cards, and when it comes to these credit card companies who essentially want to keep you chained and then bound to them, literally, because the amount of credit card debt in the United States, it's crazy. This is the amount of credit card debt that we have as a country as of right now in 2026. It's alarming. It's mind-blowing. Like, and I made a video about this, I believe a couple weeks ago. I'll link it down in the description. And this is what the thumbnail looks like. But yeah, man, and the best way to manage a credit card is to keep your utilization low and pay off the balance in full each month. That's all you gotta do, really. So yeah, man, just make smarter decisions, and your future self will thank you.